Okay, welcome fans and foes, viewers and haters. I am Braden, the Raging Canadian. Oh, hi, Moses.
Hey, Braden.
Oh, hi, Abdaman.
What's up, Braden?
Oh, hi, Nick.
Did I mention I hate you for this?
Okay, so The Room is a independent, I think it's an independent movie that came out back in 2002, and it started to get into popularity over the years because it is freaking terrible. It is a movie that you will probably find a couple clips online. You'll probably find like the scene where Mark and Johnny are sitting on the rooftop. That's how I first heard about the movie. Where he goes like, "Oh, hi, Mark," and that's pretty much where the movie got its internet meme from. Basically, in very brief words, so we're going to be ranting about it for the next little while here, but Mo, first words that came out of your mouth when you saw this movie end?
I don't know, I just thought the movie was completely horrible.
Dermot?
Ridiculous.
Nick?
Fuck you!
Nick and me have seen this. Me and Nick saw this a couple weeks ago, and now we've seen it twice, and Nick absolutely hated it because we had to download a torrent. Because actually, you will not find this in a lot of mainstream video stores. It is something you actually have to call the production company.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
I feel fucking dirty for downloading it.
It's so bad.
You should be arrested just for that.
It's some of the lowest budget movies I've ever seen. It's pretty much, the movie is about this couple, Johnny, did they give him a last name?
No, Johnny. Nope, Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny and his fiancee Lisa. Yep. And Lisa is, gold digger. She is, like he implied, she's sleeping around and she's having an affair actually with Johnny's friend Mark. And that is as close to a plot that I can say for this movie because it is an hour and a half of pure nonsense.
You seem to had too much practice in this.
This movie is like, how did anybody really see like any story pacing this thing whatsoever while they were watching it?
This girl's just practicing having sex.
Yeah,
and she seems a little too good at it.
It's so off. Like the performances that we get here. Tommy Wiseau is the guy who plays Johnny. He is also the director, he's the producer, writer, editor, and by the way, this guy could not edit if he had a gun to his head and said, edit just decently, and we will give you your life.
He looks like a vampire monkey.
Yeah, he's
casted himself as an actor.
There was this one scene where like he's putting like a tape recorder under a blanket, and the guy, like probably 3 or 4 times, I'm like, okay, you can cut the scene now. You've really gotten the point across. Cut the scene. Cut the scene. Cut the freaking scene. Like, it just goes on and on. Like, there's so many things where he just drags on. And this is a low-budget movie, like I said. So you would figure that money would be an object here, a very evident object. But no, he's just letting the camera roll. He doesn't give a crap, even if, like, in some of these takes, if he does not get a line straight out of his mouth, because clearly, how many times did we see in this thing where people were obviously dubbed? Like, poor Chinese, like, kung fu movie dubbed.
All of it?
Almost all of it. This guy, like, there's so much of it. Like, there's this one scene in the flower shop where the dialogue is so blended together so quickly, you don't have, like, a second apart between these two people talking. It's just one sentence jumping into the other. And there's so many bad like performances that you get in it.
Like a random guy that just pops out.
Yeah, there's this one character. I was gonna tell you guys. Okay, you guys remember Peter, right? This like the psychologist. You always play psychologist, Peter. That guy, the guy with the glasses. You remember him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, this is what I found out after looking online. The guy who played Peter, he eventually quit the production. Can you guess why? He quit the production. And they couldn't get, he had still some screen time they needed to do. So this is what they did. They hired this one guy to finish his last scenes, because I guess they shot the movie in chronological order. They hired this one guy to finish his scenes. They didn't change any of the dialogue. They gave this guy, who we've never seen at all before in this movie, Peter's lines, and they just roll with it. And every time you see this guy, you're thinking, who the frig are you? It's so bad. There's so many scenes. Like, what are some of the characters that you probably hated the most in this movie? And don't just say all of them.
I think the mom was pretty retarded.
The mom was so stupid. Like, originally, when I saw the movie with Nick, I don't know if he agreed with me, but for me, the mom was the best of the worst of the actors, because she at least felt like she was putting some effort into this. But then we saw this for the second time, and she was just as bad as the terrible acting that I saw in this. There's this one line that is so famous from the movie where she says, like, she's basically dying of a disease, and she says, like, the doctors have given me the test back. I definitely have breast cancer. Like, she answers it in that kind of, like, I've kind of compared it to, like, answering a Jeopardy question, you know? It's so stupid in delivery. The person who is directing this is the same man who has been compared in some reviews to Borat, doing a Christopher Walken impression, playing somebody who is mentally handicapped. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your director of this movie, and your writer, and your editor, and your friggin' producer.
Yep.
This guy spent, like, probably 7 or 8 years. It was originally going to be a theater production, and he decided to somehow take it to the next level, make it a movie. Half the movie, not half, a majority of this movie, probably 90% of it, is shot on a Los Angeles soundstage, or like a friggin' studio. And that's pretty much what it is. Like, the house that they live in, doesn't it look like one of those like, you know when you're in a real estate place, those residential mock-up houses? That's it. And they've got, like, pictures of spoons in the background. What the frig is this? And
just like the spoon, that's why.
Yeah, just like the spoon. Oh, man. The first probably 30 minutes of this movie, what do we see? What do we see?
Sex.
Sex. How many sex scenes?
Too many to count.
Too many to count. There's like 4. And here's the thing. What happened? What did I point out to you guys when we saw the third one? The third sex scene.
They didn't actually film the second fucking sex scene.
They took it from the...
They just
recycled the same footage as the first sex scene. That is how bad this movie is. It is horrible. It is so horrible. And there's like a character that I hated and Nick really hated when we first saw it. And what did you guys think of Denny? Denny, the 15 or 16-year-old guy who's supposedly Johnny and Lisa's son.
Yeah.
Creepy?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Rapist.
Rapist?
Spent too much time in the deep south.
I like to watch you guys.
This kid barges in on a sex scene, and he's like, I like to watch you guys. Like, in that almost kind of pedophile. This kid is like a pedophile voyeur. He's just so friggin' creepy. I think that this kid was probably in the initial screenplay. They said, we're going to get this 8-year-old kid. They couldn't find an 8-year-old, so they brought in this teenager and said, we're not going to change any of the character analysis. No, we're going to just make him you. You're the closest we can get.
Would you let your 8-year-old near Tommy Wiseau?
No. For heaven's sake, you would never do that.
Point made.
Yeah, there's so much of this, like so many characters. There's also a guy, I think his name was maybe Mike. You remember the scene where like people broke into Johnny and Lisa's house basically just to make out? And the guy is like with his girlfriend, and they're like got chocolate.
The guy who misplaced his underwear.
Yes, he misplaced his underwear. He runs out of the house, and the one thing that he forgets is his underwear. And basically, this guy has one of the dopiest, stupidest expressions on his face. Like when this chick is like, arms up and lifting his shirt off.
He looks like a child.
He looks like a child.
It looks like he's tired off.
We're going to have fun time.
It looks like he's been pulled off the street for 5 minutes in the movie. Didn't even know what was going on.
Everybody here, there's no casting direction. Yeah. Everybody feels like they just got pulled off the, like you said, pulled off the street. There's nothing, no consistency to these characters. Their personalities are all over the place. They never have anything that feels genuine. 1 minute, how many times did Lisa say to her mom, I don't love Johnny, to the point where you're wanting to just friggin' smack her?
Mom just kept trying to push her to marry him even though he didn't love him. And she's just like, marriage and love is not the same thing. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, like half the time the mom's like, oh, you should go into the marriage. And, well, marriage is overrated. There's no such thing in love and marriage anymore. Like,
well, who cares? Just marry him anyway.
Like, seriously, end the friggin' movie, marry the guy.